my father took me on a fishing boat, and I was really frustrated and felt really bad about myself because I wasn't catching fish. And then I accidentally got a hook in my finger when I was trying to put on bait. And the captain came down from the cabin, and he took it out. It was very painful and very scary. But when he put the Band-Aid on and he said, "Here, let me show you how," and he taught me how to fish, it sort of outlined for me the symbiotic relationship between pain, asking for help, and receiving mentorship, receiving a blessing.
Welcome to Vulnerability Muscle, the inspiring podcast challenging norms and helping you redefine vulnerability as a strength. I'm your host, Reggie D. Each episode of Vulnerability Muscle dives into a variety of topics such as mental health, social issues, and mindset shifts. We explore the power of vulnerability and fostering meaningful connections, healing, building resilience, and promoting personal growth. Sometimes these conversations are uncomfortable, but good workouts often are. So join us and flex that vulnerability muscle. Welcome to the Vulnerability Muscle. I'm your host, Reggie D. I have an amazing guest today who is a multi-talented person that is going to entertain and also just extend so much of his knowledge and wisdom around vulnerability, around masculinity. This is Scott Grace. Scott, how is it going, my buddy?
I'm freaking very excited to be with you, Reggie. It's such a profoundly wonderful excuse to connect with you, your audience, and myself.
Oh man, Scott, I usually have some notes pulled up and I'm just going to drop those for this episode because the energy that I get from you is that this is going to um we're going to guide it and it's going to go to where it needs to go and it's going to reach who it needs to reach in a beautiful way. But I do want to start kind of similarly. But first, before I get to that, I want to ask, how's your heart today?
About 20% anxiety, 20% grief, and the rest of it is joy and gratitude.
Mm, mm. I like that. I like that a lot. Oh man, Scott. If for the listeners, Scott is the male Brene Brown. He is an embodiment of Robin Williams. He is so much. He can play music. He can rap. He can do poetry. He's written books. He shared the stage with Deepak Chopra. Like this man has seen life. He's lived life, and I'm so excited to learn more about your story. But before we get into that, let's do what I call what comes to mind. Just three simple, I think, questions. And you tell me the first thing that you can think of, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What comes to mind when you hear the word vulnerability?
Shame, excitement, fear, and ooh, I think I can get lucky because I have that down. Like I
I
can
love it.
manipulate my way into
Ooh.
a woman's heart and her pants because I
Yeah.
know how to be vulnerable.
Wow. Which
Yeah,
is so
I
interesting because I think some people would see it as the opposite. I actually have interviewed someone who thought that a man being vulnerable doesn't get in the girl's pants.
well, that's true too. But you just asked me what comes to my mind, and I just yeah, I did. I spent a lot of years um, using my emotional transparency with an agenda,
Yeah.
to win over a woman usually, but also to win over an audience, to sell more books and CDs. There's a part of me that's constantly 24/7 trying to manipulate my way to get what I want. And
Mm.
so it just, as soon as I saw that vulnerability had a positive effect on people, I just added that to my manipulation tool
Wow.
bag.
Wow. That is so honest. That is so honest. Thank you for sharing that. And I think that if more people were honest or even aware that we all may utilize some of those techniques at times.
Mm-hmm.
Marketing is manipulation. Sales, there's
Mm-hmm.
manipulation. Like there's so much of that because we understand psychology that makes people behave and act and react.
Mm-hmm.
And that is we employed that every single day. So, ooh, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to calm yourself, center yourself, ground yourself if you're feeling stressed, chaotic, or overwhelmed?
I breathe. Slow, deep breaths. I hold it for 4 to 7 seconds, and then I release it very slowly. Um, that's my meditation. That's what calms me down the fastest. If I
Mhm.
can do it with my feet on the grass outside, that's even better.
Yes, I love that. And the exhale, like if you know about the nervous system, it activates that parasympathetic. It slows and calms us down. And so to slow that exhale down is so important. I love that. And lastly, what is one of your favorite childhood memories?
Favorite childhood memories. Uh, I was 8 years old, and my father took me on a fishing boat in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, New York. And everyone around me was catching fish. And I was really frustrated and felt really bad about myself because I wasn't catching fish. And then I accidentally got my a hook in in my finger when I was trying to put on bait, and it was really painful. And I screamed, and the captain came down from the cat, and he took it out. It was very painful and very scary. But when he put the band-aid on, he said, "How you doing, kid?" And I said, "I haven't got a fish yet." And he said, "Here, let me show you how." And he taught me how to fish. And I think that was just an incredible moment for me, beautiful moment. And
Mm,
it sort of outlined for me the symbiotic relationship between pain, asking for help, and receiving mentorship, receiving a blessing.
mm. Wow. Wow. That is so powerful because I think one of the things when I think about vulnerability, I think about our desire or our willingness or ability to even ask for help. I need help in some regard,
Oh
some
my
way,
goodness.
and how that is looked down upon, but we all need help in a way.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
including John Lennon, who often said that his favorite song that he ever wrote was Help, because he said it was really real, it was authentic, it was vulnerable,
Hmm.
and he always thought that it should have been slower. Do you know the song Help?
I need somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Help.
Not
Yeah,
just
so
anybody. Let's hear it.
yeah,
Uh-oh, you gonna play it?
help. I need somebody help. Not just anybody help. You
Yes.
know, I need someone help. This is the slowness that he wanted. When
Mm.
I was younger, so much younger than
I told y'all
today,
gonna get a
never
treat.
needed anybody's help in any way. But now those days are gone, I feel so insecure.
Mm.
Now I find I changed my mind, open up the door. And that's enough of that.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
Isn't it?
Oh
Yeah.
my God, Scott.
The
Ah.
context makes everything. We're talking about vulnerability. We're talking about how difficult, how much courage it takes, especially for a man, to
Hmm.
ask for help. And you
Yeah.
don't need to get a hook in your finger. I did
Yeah.
at age 8, but now I ask for help as often as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Wow. And that hook in the finger, what a metaphor it could be in so many people's lives of when they ultimately embrace vulnerability to then ask for what they need. So I want listeners, if you're out there, what is that hook in your finger?
Mm-hmm.
Where is that in your life right now? Is it in work? Is it at
Mm-hmm.
home? Like, is it in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship? But how can you use that to embrace vulnerability? Scott, I feel like I gotta ask this question because I've heard it a couple times. Are there chickens nearby?
They're roosters. Yeah,
Roosters? Okay.
the
Where are you
roosters.
located?
I'm in central Mexico, a little town called Ajijic.
Okay. Nice.
Ajijic.
You gotta give me some journey because I feel like you're one of the most interesting people I've met and we just started talking. So get me from where were you born? What was the journey like before and around that 8-year old experience? And, take me through the life.
I was born in Brooklyn at a very young age.
I'm
I,
gonna be rolling this whole time. Oh
I
man, I
was
love this.
raised to be intellectually superior, uh, to have a lot on the ball, and to have myself together. Like the values to survive the streets of Brooklyn and my Brooklyn family, I needed to have a lot on the ball. And rather than grow up being tough, and I was a jock. I was definitely macho um, on in sports, but I was always skinny, and I never felt like lifting weights or developing any talent for fighting. So what I did to survive is I developed a very razor sharp, pointed sense of humor,
Mhm.
and I used that to help me feel safe and to charm and manipulate at times. Uh, I've done all kinds of colorful things. Like I was in jail once.
Paint it for me.
I was in jail once for a weekend. I was in jail a few times. Um,
What landed you in jail?
oh, well, I'll tell you what didn't land me in jail: selling drugs. I never was arrested, but I did sell LSD in
Mhm.
college in order to make enough money to buy this, to put myself through what really was the school that I was interested. So I dropped out of college when I made enough money selling LSD to go into this rebirthing school, which was a breathing technique that in the 1980s was very just pioneering. And now there's breathing techniques everywhere, but at that time it really changed my life. And it
Wow.
started the process of getting out of the head, which I had, developed my left brain and all of my skills to manipulate. And then this deep breathing process opened my
Mm.
heart to what people call God. At the time, I didn't even use that word,
Mm.
and still rarely do. Like it's such a misused word. In fact, I had been writing songs my whole life, and usually they were funny, silly. I, they got me in trouble. But after that rebirthing, that breathing exercise, I actually wrote my first serious song. And
Okay.
it was like a prayer. I want to wake up in the morn, know what I'm made of. Oh, great spirit, teach me how to love.
Mm.
I want to hear the birds at dawn and know what they sing of. Holy Spirit, teach me, teach me how to love. I know quite well just how to hide behind these rusty walls of pride. But now my heart is calling me to rise above. Teach me how to love.
Mm.
Teach me how to love. Teach me how to love. I've shined on just a chosen few who fit me like a glove. Oh, great spirit, teach me how to love. Teach me to shine on everyone, just like the sun above. O great Spirit, teach me how to love. I've
Wow.
walked the earth in self-defense, bracing for some punishment. Could it be I'm safer here? I've asked a jury of my fears. I'd rather ask a dolphin or a dove. Teach me how to love.
Wow. 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 Thank you for that gift. It's so beautiful. And you wrote that after the breathing exercises that you were learning at that time, and you discovered what you said you called God.
1982, 1983, something along those lines, yes.
Wow. What does
Before
that
you were
song mean
born?
to you today? I was not born then. Yeah.
Ah! All right. Well, I am, as I sing that song, um, it puts me in beginner's mind. It puts me in Zen mind. It puts me in uh, like my cup is empty. I don't know the first thing about love. And
Mm,
whatever experiences that I've had that have built this story that I know something about love, that song helps me clean the slate, get humble, and do the only thing that I can do when I realize how little I know, which is to ask to be filled. And just in the asking, I feel a softening of my heart.
mm, wow. That is so powerful. You had some beautiful lines like throughout the entire song, but something stood out to a couple things stood out to me. One being hiding behind these rusty walls of pride.
Yeah.
Like, during that time, 1982, what were those rusty walls of pride? What did that look like in your life? How did that show up?
I fancied myself an enigma. I really liked being a mystery. I liked hiding, pretending, and being hot shit. Underneath my hot shit persona was a lot of insecurity, and nobody was going to see that. Not at that
Mm-hmm.
time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a whole different era of masculinity, of manhood. Like today, maybe a little bit more accepted, but I in that time I just totally different. So wow. You had to do that to survive, yeah?
Yeah. And then I did a weekend workshop. Uh, it was called the Loving Relationships Training.
Mm,
And one of the things I got from is tell the truth faster. Tell the
mm,
truth. Tell the truth. So I wrote this. I'm not going to do the whole song, but a little ditty. I was one of these guys, fully armored with lies. I always had a pocket full of alibis, till I started to see what it was doing to me, how it was burning a hole in my integrity. So I started coming out into some open space, forgiving all my living with a poker face. Sometimes I slip, but I don't crack my whip. I acknowledge that I'm human and it's part of the trip. I keep putting out my truth. That's my truth. I keep on putting out my truth. That's my truth. I keep on putting it out because that's what life's about. It always is a blessing to be openly expressing my truth.
mm,
That's the beginning of
that's
the whole
good.
song.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. Get to the truth. I want to ask a question. Like you're extremely talented, and I think you see the world and connect the dots in different parts of things that people may not see are related. And I'm curious, like where does all of who you've become, where did that start? Like, when did you build the person who can entertain, the person who can laugh, the person who make you laugh, the person who can do all of these things, uh and not see, let me be more transparent with my question. I feel like you're distracting me from you. I want to see you.
Mm. Mm.
When did you
I rise
develop
to the
the
challenge.
ability to be so good at distracting me from seeing you?
All right. Now, if you're asking me to look at my past, you're not really asking to see me because my history is not who I am now.
Yeah.
So I'm confused by your question, Reggie. It has a mixed message, and
Yeah.
I'm like, let's get clear on what the question is. Do you really want a history lesson, or do
Mm.
you want to feel me more right now?
I want a history lesson, I think. And
Okay.
then we can get to you, cuz what you are all of these things. And I'm not saying you haven't shown me you, but I want a history lesson, I think, more so.
Okay. Uh, if you look inside my history, you would see a very troubled teenager. You would see a lot of therapy, a lot of 12-step work. You'd see voice
Mm.
lessons, guitar lessons, violin lessons, comedy improv lessons, a lot of meditation and spiritual practices, lots of teachers and mentors along the way. You would see like an endless, repetitive need to make myself wrong and
Mm.
to judge myself. You would see that gradually my gifts started to peek through, even though my ego had this huge agenda to make myself so wrong that I wouldn't really share my gifts.
Mm.
You would see a time when I made my first recording, it was cassette, and people would put it on at parties, and I just had to remember to breathe because I was so nervous about people's judgments, and I felt like my voice sucked and I had no business recording music. So you'd see a lot of shame and a lot of breaking through over many years, and you wouldn't see one thing that defined my freedom, or you wouldn't see one thing. It's just like it's so gradual. Many broken hearts along the way, mostly mine.
Wow, yeah.
And music, a constant companion. All my ups and all my downs had a song that helped me uh, heal. I would
Mhm.
basically, be my own therapist whenever I picked up the guitar.
Yeah. Wow. I'm learning the guitar right now. I'm trying to learn the guitar right now, but
Hmm.
I would say music has been that companion for me as well throughout my entire life, of writing, of listening to other people's music, and just connecting so deeply with words, with melodies, with sounds, with bass. And uh it I, thank you. Thank you for sharing that piece, cuz it helps me understand a little bit more. And you are, oh my gosh, like the enigma that you spoke of. Like, I think, like, you're just a brilliant person. Like, when the world has genius, you have genius. And I hate that there was ever a moment in time where you were had a story, or told or taught or shown that that genius wasn't inside of you. And but I'm glad to see it shining so vividly, so brightly today. And
Mm.
oh my gosh, like, it's remarkable. It's absolutely remarkable. Where did the transformation happen for you?
Mm. Another question that's impossible to answer because of what I said. Everything's been gradual. I haven't
Yeah.
had, one turnaround weekend. I didn't have an out of the body experience and came back a different
Mm,
person. So
yeah.
not a
Let me
very
ask you this then, because you talked about
yeah.
selling LSD. Did you ever try
Of
LSD?
course, I had to sample the product.
What was your experience with that?
Well, I've had hundreds, and I would
Wow.
say a few were really, really bad. Some of them uh, annoying, but okay. And the vast majority of them were like watching trailers for just how expansive my life was going to get, just how
Mm.
open and receptive my mind was going to be. In fact, there was one time I was tripping in Brooklyn, coming home from wherever, usually Greenwich Village, and I was listening in my head to songs that were just being made up, and they were based on the themes of the things I had been thinking about. And so I started to ask questions of the universe and receive answers as if it was like a Broadway show in my head. And that was a precursor to what I do on a daily basis now, crafting, creating, allowing songs for my own upliftment, but also for other people. Almost
Mhm.
every day, I sing in front of an audience and create songs in the moment.
Mm.
In
That's
fact,
beautiful.
I hope that you allow me to do that. Give me a topic,
Yeah.
give me a first line, and get me going.
Oh, oh, that is we're gonna do that. That is gonna be amazing. But before we do that, because I want to hear about your book, and then I want to get to that piece. I want to hear
Sure,
about your book, Mindful Masculinity. Tell me
sure.
about what prompted you to write that book, who that book is for, and how can they benefit from it.
Okay. Well, the book is for me, and what what prompted to write it was that I needed a major healing of my masculinity, and it's what I do. When I need a healing, I give to others what I most need to learn. I teach what I need to learn.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, so many years I made myself wrong for being a soft male. I didn't know what really masculinity meant. All my ideas about masculinity came from movies and role models that are not so cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to clean the slate and start writing almost like a new slate from a new uh, empty sketchboard. And all these stories and ideas from my life became my teaching tools. And I realized, oh my God, have I learned a lot? And so as I wrote, it's really like a memoir in many ways. As I wrote, I learned, and I became more solid. And I realized that masculinity is not about my muscles or bravado. It's more about, for me, it's taking action in the face of my fears. So it's about courage, not fearlessness, not pretending that I have it all together, but just raw courage to follow my heart and face my demons, self-doubt, shame, really with that honesty. That honesty is like a masculine knife. It cuts through my
Yeah.
own bullshit. I
Mm.
love to call bullshit on myself. And that
Mm.
to me is what masculinity is about. And I wrote a book about it.
Ooh, that's good. I you just that's the theme of the song is cutting through our own bullshit. That I want I because that's something that I think it's easier for me to see somebody else's bullshit or call somebody else out on their bullshit, but it's so much harder to turn that mirror at myself and say, "Hey, look yourself in the mirror." I have a line in a poem that I wrote. It's like, be real with what you see in your reflection. You hate rejection, denial, criticism, and objection. You love the
Woo!
praise and the pleasure you get from external validation. It's just it's that's so real for me, right? I don't want to be criticized, rejected, or feel like I'm being denied, but that's not a direct rejection of myself or who I am, but like I fear it at times, and to look ourselves in the mirror and just be real. So let's make that the theme of the song of and give some people some inspiration around being real with themselves.
Being real with yourself.
Let's go.
It may be hard, but it's great for your health.
The Sky Grace. Let's
You
go.
desire all kinds of wealth.
Hey.
Maybe, maybe not. You want the validation everyone craves.
Mm.
You want forgiveness when you misbehave.
Come on.
Come on, baby, admit it, you are human.
Wow.
Cut through your bullshit with a serrated knife. 'Cause when you let bullshit run your stupid life, you remain immature,
Mm.
in denial,
Mm.
pushing down your grace and style. Come on and let's cut it. Let's cut it.
Let's go.
First, you gotta smell it first and then wipe it off your shoe. Return to being you. Cut the bullshit. All
Let's
my
go.
life, all my days, I was taught to go for the praise. But I'm waking up from that nap. I'm no longer hiding behind my old crap. I'm cutting the shit. Yeah.
Let's go. Oh my goodness. I can only imagine. Like that just you did that on the spot. Like this was not prepared. This was not planned at all, y'all. Like he just did that. That is this man's genius on the spot to be able to give this. That was a gift for me. That was a gift
Yeah.
for me. Something that I needed to hear, that I wanted to hear, and I'm sure a gift for so many others. And to know that this is you walking in your genius and doing this for so many people day in and day out. I cannot imagine the amount of lives that you've impacted over the course of your own life. Have you
Thank
had
you.
any people what have been some of the feedback that you've gotten or some of the testimonials from the work that you've done? Because like that's powerful, man.
Well, little things like you saved my life. I was going to commit
Little
suicide.
things.
Then I heard your song. You helped my son believe in himself.
Mm.
Uh, endless, endless, endless. Uh, and it's just begun. I'm 62 years old, and I'm raring to go to get out there in the world again. I have a new passion project, which is to help depolarize as many people who are willing. Um, the madness that's going on in the States right now, especially, but
Mm.
all over the world. I have
Yeah.
a lot of passion for helping people um, who are ready. You can't help anybody who's not ready, but people who are willing to look at their own bullshit
Yeah.
and to stop seeing things in terms of black and white, or in this case, red and blue.
Yeah.
And the talk, the presentation I've been giving is called Beyond Red and Blue: Staying Human in Polarized Times.
Yes. Yes. How do we do that? Like I feel like we get more deeply ingrained in
Mm.
confirmation bias, and whether
Mm-hmm.
it's the news you look at, the algorithm that's feeding you what you see, like
Mm.
how do we build a bridge to get back to a place where there's not that as much divisiveness, if any?
Well, one heart, one mind at a time. So, like when
Mhm.
you thirst for this, when you get tired of being right in your mind, uh, the path is going to be one step at a time. And I only recently really I realized I have really not practiced one of my favorite things that I preach, which is from St. Francis: let me not so much seek to be understood as to understand.
Mhm.
And that's what we need to do to reach across the aisle and make friends or just be curious. Recently, I was on an airplane and I sat next to people, an older couple with MAGA hats on. And at first, I bristled because my politics are very different than red hats.
Yeah.
But I heard them talking about their grandchildren. So I just, I had 4 hours to kill. I said, "Hey, I'm curious, how many grandchildren do you have?" And it ended up being a really lively conversation about their children, their grandchildren, my children. Pictures were shown, stories were told. An hour or two passed, and I started to feel like this is the best. I think I won the emotional lottery here because
Mm.
we're talking about what we have in common. There's so much humanity and connection. So I took a risk and I said, "I'm curious. Do you mind if I ask you a more personal question?" And they said, "No." I said, "What kind of world are you hoping that President Trump creates or leaves for your grandchildren?
Mm.
Paint me a
Mm.
picture." And it was the same world that I want my daughter to live in.
Yep.
And we had radical different strategies
Yep.
for how to get there. But the idea that we all share the same needs, that really warmed my heart. And I came home from that flight and I found two Republicans and took them out to dinner.
Nice.
I'm like on the war path here or the peace path. I'm so excited because nobody's good or bad, black or white, evil or not. Nobody. Everyone has in their heart something good, something really
Yes.
valuable. And I am just so hungry to, let's just say, depolarize my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look out in the world and I see a different world. And I think that's the way it is. It's like we need to, there's no we. It's one heart and mind at a time. You can't change anybody, but you can see with, again, courage, the courage to cut through your own bullshit, to see where you are dividing the world up into good, bad, right or wrong, good
Yes.
people, bad people, red hats, blue hats. Because when you see that stuff, you can do something about it inside your heart.
Wow. Wow. I love that you had the courage. And I think we're lacking more and more. We're lacking courage to have that conversation. I see the hat. I instantly make judgment. I don't open up my mouth. We don't have we don't see each other's humanity. And we don't see that we do have this shared vision for the world that is nearly identical for the people that we love, but yet we have disagreed on how we get to that place.
Indeed.
And Kirk, oh man. And to then invite more and have more conversations. I think that
Mm-hmm.
is what we need to do with open hearts and open minds and open ears and
Mm-hmm.
receiving, to
Mm-hmm.
see that maybe we're looking at things a little differently. Maybe we can be changed. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what we're lacking, is
Mm-hmm.
understanding that the world is a lot more complex than we make it out to be. Oh man.
Absolutely. One of the tenets in what I'm learning and then going out and lecturing about is that the more afraid you are, the more you see the world in terms of your point of view is the right way. I call it the MWHW virus. It's the my way or the highway virus. And the fear usually is suppressed.
Mhm.
No one walks around going, "I'm terrified."
Mhm.
But it's very easy to be angry. The poet in me says, "Fear likes to stay hidden from view and play hide and seek in its host, which is you." "I'm
Mm.
not afraid, I'm just angry," it shouts. "I've been mistreated and need to speak out." "I'm not afraid, I'm upset and I'm caring." There's so many disguises that fear enjoys wearing. He's proud of his wardrobe because he designed it. Though he wouldn't admit it, fear's quite clothes minded.
Mm. Mm.
So nobody's going to open their minds and their hearts to other people until fear is addressed directly.
Where do you think that fear comes from? What are we afraid of, and where, like, what is the blue afraid of from the red? What is the red afraid of from the blue? Black,
Different
white.
differences are threatening. Um, I think everyone's just really scared shitless right now, for valid reasons. There's a sense that nobody talks about this, but there is a sense that humanity is either going to evolve or perish.
Mhm.
We're on the endangered species list. And I think everyone on some level feels this, like evolve or perish. And some people's strategies for evolving is digging your heels in, or
Mm.
even, hiring a chauffeur to get in the front seat so you don't have to drive anymore. And this chauffeur, is that how to pronounce it? Chauffeur? He says, "Don't worry, man, I've got you back. Just sit in the passenger seat. I am going to slow this car down. In fact, I'm going to put it in reverse and take us back to the good old days." And this chauffeur's President Trump right now, but there's all kinds of chauffeurs who are hoodwinking their countries all over the world because
Mhm.
people are so scared. And whoever says I'll make you feel safe doesn't even matter if they're telling the truth. It's like, oh, this person helps me feel safe.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
going to be my guard dog, and he's going to make me feel safe by barking and biting those vicious Mexicans and Canadians. And, you
Mhm.
know, and so people are
Right.
really scared. Until we have compassion for how much
Mm.
fear people are in, we can't have these kinds of heart to heart conversations.
Compassion. Yes. Yes. You're an interesting man. Um, you've invested a lot into training and developing and learning, and over six figures over the course of your life. And I think that is impressive to invest in yourself in that way and want to see the improvement, the insights that you gain. I'm curious what has been some of the most insightful training things that you've done, and how you employed that today.
Nonviolent communication comes to mind. I studied that for decades, taught it for a decade. Something called relating, AR, which I pretty much learned through internet groups over the last 10 years. Yeah, a lot of spiritual stuff, Course in Miracles. I don't know. It's just, it all blends into one basic thing, which is I'm here. I've got a lot to give. I love mentoring younger people. I love helping people one on one. I don't really monetize that much. I charge for coaching, but I'm I'm 62. I have no savings, no retirement, and I'm still fucking on passion for
Yeah.
helping and uplifting, because it's the most selfish thing I can do. The more I uplift people, the better I feel.
Mm, wow. We need more of you in the world. We need more uplifters. We need more people to help other
Hmm.
people rise. We
Hmm.
need that. We need to run with passion and understand that people matter. Like, I got this shirt on, it says you matter. Like, to
Hmm.
anyone. And the back of it is even more beautiful. It's a let me turn around because I want, if you can read it, Scott, let me know what it says. Can you
Okay.
read it?
It says, to the person behind me, you are amazing, beautiful, and enough.
Mm.
Remember that.
This conversation has been so different than so many others because I feel like you have a unique energy about you, and you have there's a persona that I want to talk about. You developed the spiritual Dr. Seuss.
Indeed.
Tell me about what that persona is. Who, what, how did that come to be, and what does it represent?
Well, when my daughter was 2 years old, I finished tucking her in, read her a Dr. Seuss bedtime story, and the doctor, the energy of the rhyming of the Dr. Seuss just kept going on in my head. And I actually went to sleep. I could hardly fall asleep because I kept having these rhymes. So I got up, went to the computer, started writing down what I was hearing. And it was surprising because it felt like it was more for adults and that it had some wisdom in it. And so for the rest of my life, I've been like a scribe for what I call the spiritual Dr. Seuss.
Mm. Wow. Wow. What have you created from that from that ethos?
Lots of stuff. My goodness, like the fear, gather my friends, because the end times are here. Not the end of the world, but the end of your fear. So turn down the lights, make it dark now. I dare ya. Stick around till the end, and I'm gonna unscare ya.
Mm.
Now, when you were young and most things were quite swell, fear knocked on your door with a product to sell. And like most good salesmen, he cast quite a spell while selling insurance called All Is Not Well. Now, All Is Not Well came in its own case, the case that there's danger all over the place. And after you bought it, your All Is Not Well, you felt it your duty to share and to tell. And so, mouth to mouth was how fear procreated with no YouTube or Facebook to disseminate it. Fear soon went viral all over the globe, using old time religion to dispense and promote. Because fear knew the way to get globally big was to drive a false wedge between God and her kids. That's how he came to be so domineering, by replacing God loving with you must be God fearing. Then fear and religion began co creating and cooked up a symbol of fear they called Satan, as if infinite love had a worthy opponent with pitchfork in hand who could pounce any moment. The concept was great for maintaining control, making people behave as if they're on parole. Because when God fearing people are scared for their souls, they put much more silver and gold in the bowl.
Mm.
Now,
Damn.
that's a 7-minute rap. You can find it on YouTube, or you can read it in one of my books called Oh, the Places Your Ego Will Go. But just for the
Mm.
purpose of time management, let's stop there.
Oh my goodness. That was
Mm-hmm.
deep. That was
Mm-hmm.
deep. I can't wait to look at that. Like I want to see the whole thing and just hear it. Like you mentioned God earlier and you said that you rarely use that term then and then today, but
Mm-hmm.
God shows up in a different way in your life. What does God look like? And how does that appear?
Hey, I wish I knew.
Yeah.
God is the infinite. God is the love. God is what is the great mystery that makes life eternal. That makes it so that when things change form, they don't die. They just change form. Like energy cannot be created or destroyed. And that is freaking mystical.
Mhm.
And I am in awe of the mystery. And that's my religion, awe. I think
Yeah.
this world is awesome. Never mind what
Yes.
we've done with our free will that has made it less than a joyride. That's true, and that's what we're working on. But step back and see and feel the awe, and that's where your God is to me.
Mm. Wow. Dang. This world is awesome. This universe is
Mhm.
awesome. Each individual in it, they are awesome. All of y'all.
In
Dang.
fact, if I may, let's do one more song. This is from my new show, Beyond Red and Blue. And towards the end, uh, people are up, stirred. It's not a, it's not a fun fest, but at the end I say, we've survived so many things. If you look back, just
Yes.
COVID,
Yes.
incredibly challenging, such adversity,
Mm-hmm.
and we're here to learn, and we're learning all the time. And here's what I think we may have learned during COVID. Here's what I saw us learning. I saw facial masks, people getting sick, stuck in our homes, binging Netflix. And I said to myself, it's still a wonderful world. I saw families slowing down, meals being shared, every emotion from joy to despair. And I said to myself, it's still a wonderful world. Could it be that the pandemic, traumatic as it was teaching us resilience and maybe even love? I saw friends washing hands, standing 6 feet apart, learning there's no distance between our hearts. Now the shit's hit the fan, it's pouring like a geyser. May good things grow from Donald's fertilizer. Either way, I could say is still a wonderful world. Either way, we can say it's still a wonderful world. Oh, yeah.
Oh man. It is a wonderful world. Wow. Wow, Scott. You've blessed. Like, I'm gonna go back and listen to this so many times just because
Mm,
I wanna really digest some of the lyrics that you've created. The words and the way
mhm.
that you put them together are so beautiful, so powerful, so
Thank you,
deep.
Reggie. I
Yeah.
appreciate your appreciation. And if anybody's been touched and wants to get a hold of me, best place probably is just simply my website,
Mhm.
scottsongs.com, SCOTTSONGS.com. You can find me on YouTube, Scott Grace. You can also find me on Facebook, Scott K. Grace, my middle initial. That's important for Facebook. And if anybody wants to help me start an Instagram account or TikTok or manage my social media, call me.
Yes.
Because I like to
Yes.
stay away from computers and phones as much as possible.
Yes, that's good. I love that. And are you staying in Mexico? Like, are you living in Mexico now?
I do. I'm a temporary citizen here. I do visit my daughter and my mother and go to the States for gigs. But this is actually what feels most like home for me
Mhm.
here.
Yeah, yeah. Is that what is that feeling like? Is it a feeling of peace? Is it a welcoming feeling? What made you feel that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, first of all, the cost of living where I live is about half of what I was paying. So instantly, my stress level went down about paying the bills.
Mm.
And then I just noticed everyone's so friendly. I don't know about the whole country. It's a big country, but I live in a place called Ajijic Pueblo Mágico, magical village. And the kids are playing till midnight. The families are just so bonded, and everyone's happy, and neighbors help each other, and all the retired gringos are thrilled to be there. The weather's great, and even though I said all that, don't come. We
Don't flood this place.
we don't flood this place. In fact, we're thinking of building a wall.
Yeah. I
Oh my
love
god!
that. Scott,
And
before we
getting
close,
Donald to pay for the wall.
he's gonna pay for it. Oh, I love that. That is too good. Before I close, I want to go through a segment called fill in the blank. And these are just
Sure.
some simple statements where you fill it in.
Okay.
Vulnerability makes me feel blank.
Sweet and sour, soft and powerful, uh, scared and courageous.
Mm, yes, I love that. The wholeness, the complexity. My superpower is blank.
Calling bullshit on myself
Dope.
and having a sense of humor about it.
Nice. If I could tell my younger self one thing, it would be blank.
Oh, hang in there, kid. It's going to get sweeter and sweeter and sweeter and sweeter. And you get to be all you ever dreamed to be in this lifetime. So hang in there. The adversity is all for a purpose. Keep going, dude. Rock on.
Yes. And lastly, I, Scott Grace, am living for blank.
I, Scott Grace, am living for a world where everyone wins, feels safe, and has resources and opportunities.
Mm. That's a beautiful world. I love that. I love that. Scott, this has been a fantastic conversation. Not even, this is not an experience. This has been a fantastic experience with you. And I appreciate the time that you spent with me. And I hope that we get some more time together. I'm going to look you up all over and see if I can find you, catch you at some of your gigs.
Oh,
And yeah, it's been beautiful. Are there
oh
any
man.
final thoughts, any things that you want to share with the audience, share with the world before we hop off?
Find your tribe. Don't do this alone.
Mhm.
Vulnerability and community are very intertwined. Find your tribe. What Reggie said about just wanting praise and validation, I would say you deserve that. You deserve to be
Mhm.
surrounded by 97.9% support with an occasional constructive criticism here and there. But boy, do we flourish and prosper when we're loved and cared about and given that cheerleading squad that most of us didn't get from our families.
Mm, man, mic drop. Yes.
Yeah.
I will link your contact information in the show
Thank you.
notes. And Scott, I appreciate you. I appreciate the person that you are. I appreciate what you're doing to uplift others, to help them, to put a smile on people's faces and make them laugh. Thank you for being who you are. With all the things that you could be doing and all the places you could be, I appreciate you being here with me, embracing vulnerability.
Oh man, this has been so beautiful, Reggie, and I'm happy to come back and we're friends. We've
Yes.
like we've bonded. People who crash on an airplane and go through tragedy together have this like bond for life,
Hmm.
but also beautiful experiences like this podcast that feels like a cemented bond between us. So let's
Wow.
stay in touch.
We definitely will. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of Vulnerability Muscle. If you've enjoyed these conversations around vulnerability, please consider leaving a review. Your feedback not only motivates us to continue to do the work that we do, but it allows other people to witness the power of vulnerability. Share your thoughts on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or wherever you're listening from. And don't forget to spread the word. You can follow us at Vulnerability Muscle on Instagram and me personally at Reggie D Ford across all platforms. Visit vulnerabilitymuscle.com for additional resources and support. And remember, embracing vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. It is the source of your greatest strength. Sometimes it's uncomfortable, but most workouts are. So keep flexing that vulnerability muscle.